செப்டம்பர் மாதம் 6ஆம் தேதி 1868ஆம் ஆண்டு இறைவனடி சேர்ந்தார். சென்னையில் அமைந்திருக்கும் பச்சையப்பா கல்லூரியில் அவரது நினைவாக அவரது உருவப்படம் உள்ளது. தனது வாழ்நாள் முழுவதும் மக்களின் முன்னேற்றத்தில் ஈடுபாடு கொண்டு கடுமையாக உழைத்து மக்களை மேம்படுத்துவதில் பெரும் பங்கு வகித்தார். அவரது வரலாறு போற்றி பாதுகாக்கப்பட வேண்டியது. This is the 155th death anniversary. Since his demise in 1868, Sri Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty's memorial service was done at Pachappa School and later it was discontinued. Today we will take this as an opportunity to pay our tributes to our hero. A very, very warm welcome to our chief guests, Honorable Mr. Justice Vivek Kumar Singh, Dr. Sudha Seshayan, Mr. Kolahala Srinivasan, Senior Journalist, Advocate Jagannath, and Sri Om Prakash, and all our nationalistic audience who have taken their time and effort to come for the book re-release. Pushpanjali, offering of flowers to one of our unsung heroes. Requesting the chief guest to please join us on the dais. Today we will pay tribute to our hero, a minute's silence to remember the great soul for his dedication to the nation. Please keep your phones in silent mode. Can we all rise to pay our tribute? Thank you all. Tamil Thai Vaazhthu will be played. C.K. Chandrasekhar is an advocate with 30 years of practice. He is the standing counsel for the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu State Legal Services Authority and many other organizations. He is the founder president of Vadakarinjar Ulavara Kulu, an advocates temple cleaning group, the first of its kind in India, which has been doing the services of cleaning a temple every month. They have done seva in more than 130 temples so far. And the list includes the Sri Brihadeshwara Temple Tanjavur, Egambareswara Temple and the Varadaraja Perumal Temple in Kanchipuram. The speciality of this movement is that they involve students who are the next generation of our society, so as to inculcate the moral values and respect our ancient traditions and rich cultural heritage of our nation. Due to their efforts, the Madras High Court passed an order in April 2024 to permit the voluntary Ulavara Pani in Tamil Nadu. He is closely associated with the author Jagannath, who is also an organizing committee member of this group. Request Advocate C.K. Chandrasekhar to give the welcome address.
Good evening, salutations to one and all. Today we have assembled to offer our Shraddhanjali to the unknown, ancient freedom fighter, the first native voice of Tamil Nadu, rather India itself you can say. 155 years ago he left to the heavenly abode, but then his works have been taken from the library sources, the archaeology department both in India and in UK, and the details have been brought to life thanks to the efforts of the author B. Jagannath Advocate. And that great work has made us realize how much sacrifice our native Indians have done in the 1800s, that is 1830, 1840s, even before the first War of Indian Independence took place in 1857. So this book is rich in its content, and when the Hon'ble Governor, Sri R.N. Ravi, released this book, along with the Chief Justice, then Chief Justice of Meghalaya, Justice S. Vaidyanathan, he specifically said that this content would show to the world what this great citizen of this country had done for the welfare of the nation in terms of freedom of this print media, against then of course fighting against the conversion which was going on under the British at that time, and also establishing the first, that is the Madras Crescent, the Crescent which was started by him, in those days had 12,000 readers. Imagine, they did not have any kind of technology which we have today to boast of, but this single person had such a great act done in those days in the 1800s. And of course, he was one of the founder members of the Pachapas Trust. And thankfully today the Pachapas Trust remembered him in their institution today morning, and they have kept a smart classroom today after 155 years of his death. That is what it is, thanks to this great effort of the great person who fought for the freedom, and for Jagannath, who was brought to the light today. And today we have, in this re-release of this book, Shri Justice Vivek Kumar Singh, Honorable Judge of the Madras High Court, who has graced this occasion, and he is going to speak about this great Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty and how he did and what he did for the people's rights in those days. And of course we have Madam Sudha Seshayan, the former Vice Chancellor of MGR Medical University and presently the Director of the Chennai campus of the Shastra University, and always being in the midst of students, and her rich knowledge in the, not only in the medical field, but also as a debater right from her college days, and of course as a speaker in varied subjects today, both in terms of the exposing and exponenting the culture of this land, Tamil Nadu, with religion, anything under the sky you say, this person of knowledge can deliver a lecture, give us thoughtful insights through her speeches, which everyone listens. And she is such a great person, and we welcome her to this evening's function. And of course, the other person whom we are inviting here is Sri Kolahala Srinivas, one of the senior journalists in India. As you all know how popular he is. He is known for his forthright views, and he never fears anything when it comes to coming in the press. So such great persons, a journalist, a honorable judge, and of course an academician, all the persons with varied experiences in their respective fields, rich enough to give an insight about this great freedom fighter today, and all of them have congregated. We welcome you, sir and madam, and all who have attended here, come here today. Our former Chief Justice of Meghalaya, Justice Vaidyanathan has come, our Justice M. Govindraj has come, and many members of the legal fraternity, members of the press, and ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity on behalf of the organizers to welcome you all to this evening function. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are extremely happy to felicitate our multifaceted guests. Request Advocate Jagannath to felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Vivek Kumar Singh. Request Mr. Kumaresan to felicitate Dr. Sudha Seshayan. Request Om Prakash, Sri Om Prakash ji to felicitate Mr. Kolahala Srinivasan, senior journalist. Request Advocate Jagannath to felicitate Sri Om Prakash. Request Sri Om Prakash to felicitate Advocate C.K. Chandrasekhar.
I request Sri Kumaresan to felicitate comparing Madam Dr. Shubha.
Re-release of the English book written by Advocate Jagannath and Tamil book written by Sri Om Prakash by our esteemed guests. Honorable Mr. Justice Vivek Kumar Singh completed his graduation in law from APS University, Rewa, Madhya Pradesh in the year 1993. He got enrolled as an advocate in 1993. He practiced both civil and criminal at Allahabad High Court. He was elevated as an additional judge of the High Court of Judicature at Allahabad in 2017 and took oath as permanent judge in 2019 and served at Allahabad till November 2023. He was transferred to Madras High Court and took oath as judge of Madras High Court in November 2023. Honorable Justice will deliver his address about MNA advocated for people's rights.
Male Vanakkam. My reverence to my elder brother, my friend, my colleague, Justice Vaidyanathan, previously Chief Justice of Meghalaya High Court, and the first person whom I met before coming here to Madras. Madam Sudha Shishain, Director Chennai Campus, Kolahal Srinivas. Kolahal means noise. In Hindi, Kolahal word is noise. Joyous. Noise and joyous. So without Kolahal, there can be no gathering. Kolahal is must for a gathering. My younger brother, Advocate P. Jagannath, very, very decent lawyer. When he came first in my chamber, my good wishes to my audience who are sitting over here, very sorry. Jagannath, when he first came in my chamber and invited me, I got the impression that this fellow will one day become judge of Madras High Court. This intuition I got in this heart. Today I am revealing this before him. I have never said this to him, but I felt that when you came in my chamber for the first time. So you get those inklings. 22 years back, many people said that Vivek Singh will one day become judge of Allahabad High Court. So same feeling I got that he will become, definitely God will make you judge of High Court. Very great evening in the sense that to talk about great people without being great. I am a normal and common human being, a common judge, not a legendary figure like for whom I will be talking, but it is very great for a person to talk about a great person. Tamil Nadu as a whole, what I had in my mind before coming here, as a child also, I have felt always that it is the only hub of learning. Tamil Nadu is a state of India where almost all persons who are there, they are very learned. This was the feeling which I was having, but academically, it was Kerala that literacy rate is highest in Kerala. But I had this feeling when I joined as a lawyer at Allahabad High Court, and I saw people from Tamil Nadu ruling in Supreme Court. Great people, great lawyers from Tamil Nadu, very great lawyers. So I have seen them argue in Supreme Court. So the command over the language, the command over the subject, what they have. So this gave me this thing that nobody is above people of Tamil Nadu as far as learning is concerned. This is the impression which I got. It is very great thing to say about a person who has initiated something which was never heard of in his times. 19th century, a person who was born Gazulu, Lakshminarasu, Chetty. Great man. He was born, I think, in the 1806 or 1807, and starting something which was completely new in the whole of the country, where literacy rate was zero at that time, and belonging to a very affluent class. His father, something I have read from the book. His father was a very great trader of those times when East India Company was at the helm of affairs. He would have opted for that business, but instead of opting for that business, he raised people's voice. It was very great, very, very great thing that he did at that point of time, because nobody could even think of that, what he did. Again, there is a saying that I always remember when I speak, I say that thing. Some are born great, some acquire greatness, and in some greatness is thrust upon. He was born great. We don't know that we have acquired greatness or not, and in some greatness is thrust upon. You will see many people in today's life where greatness has been thrust upon. But he was born great. Swami Vivekananda, Ramkrishna Paramhans, Chetty Sahab, they were all very great people, and spreading a movement for enlightening the people of those times. What is their right? Right is always corresponding to duties. He advocated for rights, but along with that, he had also advocated for duties. We are remembering those rights, but we are always forgetting the duties. We are forgetting the duties. Duty is always cast when there is a right. If you have the right of good civic system in your city, then you also have a duty to maintain that system. You also have that duty that there should be civic sense in you, that you maintain that thing. So right and duties they go together. He advocated the native voice at that point of time through his meaningful dialogues as well as his writings. I was very fond of Hindu newspaper when I was a student. I had this in my mind that Hindu newspaper is the best newspaper compared to any other national newspaper. Because at that time when I was a student, it was a very, I'm not saying that today it is not good, but that time, 40 years back, it was very, very different kind of newspaper. I had a very great attraction for Hindu newspaper. Before Hindu, he brought this newspaper and writings. So it was great on him that he showed the path for the future. So I can say that he was the man who started this media in the country. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to know about the things which was prevailing at that point of time and what suffering we were having. And those sufferings he made easier for the people to understand that they are suffering on the hands of somebody else. They should not suffer. These things came through him and it was very great, and he should be given more place in history. Like for the first time, when Jagannath invited me for this function, I heard his name for the first time. Truly speaking, I never heard Gazulu, Lakshminarasu, Chetty's name. But when I read about him, in that book also, there are a number of letters also written by him. So I thought that how great he was. So now that thing has come in me, that if ever I get more time, definitely I will try to know about him in a much bigger spectrum. It is a great thing that what he had done, and we should try to follow about his sayings, because it is very easy to say something, but it is very difficult to adapt it. So adaptation of that thing is must. What he has done, we should try to evaluate in our lives. Not much to be said, because it is very difficult to define a great person, because we are not that much great, or we stand nowhere, so we can't define any great person. But as a learner, I can say that we have to learn from what he has said, what he had done in his life, and I would love to be part of this movement, part of the Center for South Indian Studies, who has invited me, Chennai chapter, and part of life of Mr. B. Jagannath. He is a very good boy, and I bless him, wish him all success in life. Thank you very much to the audience who has heard me. Thank you very much, ma'am, sitting, because ma'am is great academician, and Mr. Kulal, great educationist. B. Jagannath, my brother, Justice Vaidyanathan, people who are sitting over here. Again, I will come if you will again invite me for these type of functions. Thank you very much, Nandri.
Thank you for your enlightening speech, Honorable Justice. Sure, you have become our Chennai Vasi now. நாம படிச்ச ஹிஸ்டரி புக்ல இவர் பேரை பார்க்க முடியல. இது போல பல ஆயிரம் பேரை காணல. தோண்டி வைரத்தை எடுக்கிற மாதிரி பல நல்ல உள்ளங்கள் மறைக்கப்பட்டு இருக்கிற வைரங்களை தேடி எடுத்து அவர்களுடைய வாழ்க்கை வரலாற்றை புத்தக வடிவத்தில் நமக்கு கொண்டு வந்திருக்காங்க. அப்படி ஒருத்தர் தான் அட்வொகேட் ஜெகநாத், author of the first native voice of the Madras. He is practicing as an advocate in the Madras High Court for the past 15 years. He was an associate with late advocate R. Muthukumaraswamy, who served as the Advocate General and headed the Madras Bar Council. He has earned numerous accolades, including saving acres of land belonging to the Tiruporur Murugan Temple in Tamil Nadu. He is an organizing committee member of the Valakarinjal Ulavara Kulu. Our sincere gratitude to you for authoring this book. A few words from the author.
Hon'ble Mr. Justice V.K. Singh Ji, Madam Sudha Seshan Ji, Kolahalan Srinivasan Ji, Hon'ble Mr. Justice Vaidyanathan, and Hon'ble Mr. Justice Govindarajan, former judge of the Madras High Court. I would also like to today welcome Mr. Thurai Pandian, who is the descendant of the king of Nilkat Seval of a freedom fighter, Mr. Pulideva's great grandson, who is present amongst us. Mr. Kumaresan of Center for South Indian Studies, Mr. Om Prakash Ji, my senior, C.A. Jeenasenan sir, Mr. Ramkumar sir, C.K. Chandrasekharan, and of course my parents who are present over here. I'd like to welcome all of you here for this evening, this August gathering. It will not take much of your time. Why are we here today? We are here today to remember that great son of Bharat who fought for our freedom. When I say freedom, it includes the educational freedom, it includes our native freedom, and it includes the rights which was taken from us by the British. I would just like to focus on one very crucial, important aspect over here, which is pertaining to the Madras Native Association and taxation, because I think that's not been said, so I'll just focus on that particular aspect alone. Just imagine for a moment that a person like Thiru Chetty, who was one of the richest merchants in Madras, who was a founding member of the Madras Chamber of Commerce, he has a son called Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty. You're born into such kind of a family. What will you do? The first thing that you will do would be to make sure that your family business multiplies twofold or threefold. That is not what Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty did. In fact, he did the opposite. He ensured that I don't care even if my family business comes down. I will make sure that I will fight for the rights of the people of my nation, and nobody can stop that, including the mighty British. On 26th of February in 1852, he started something called as the Madras Native Association, which is based upon the British Indian Association. Now this particular association is supposed to be the first of its kind association which was formed in entire Madras Presidency, which was formed specifically to fight for the rights of us native Indians. Now, what did this association do? He did not sit idle. He sent various memorandums, various petitions, not only to the governor over here in Fort St. George in Madras, but he sent various representations to House of Commons, because he knew that our masters at that point of time were not people in Fort St. George, but the British Parliament. Just imagine this for a moment, that the representations what he sent, the memorandums what he sent, was debated in the House of Commons. It was read in the House of Commons. He sent representations pertaining to the torture which was meted out by the British against us natives. Due to decency and due to various other factors, I cannot say what torture the British did against us. It is there in the book. Such kind of torture even the Irish did not face in Ireland by the British. That was the kind of torture. Why did the British torture the native Indians? It's very simple. For increasing the revenue. In 1833, there was this famine, this artificial famine called Guntur famine. We wouldn't have heard of that in our history books. But this thing happened over here, and more than a million people died over here in Madras Presidency. After this, if you can see, in 1853, when this particular issue of torture was going on, Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty got signatures from various parts of the Madras Presidency, starting from Ganjam in Odisha and Rajamundry on the eastern side, on the eastern coast, towards Vengurla on the western side. He got all these petitions, he got all this information from the kind of network that he had, because that was the network that he had built through Madras Native Association. He had this foresight, this acumen and thinking that if there is going to be an organization that is going to be started, you need a vehicle as a mouthpiece to say what the organization stands for. This, he had this thinking way back in 1844, and he started the Madras Crescent first. After that being a success, he started the Madras Native Association. Now, these petitions which he sent, it was sent to the British Parliament. Once it was sent to the British Parliament, for more than about 4 days, you can see all those petitions which we have kept in the book. We have also kept the debates that took place in the House of Commons. These debates took place in the House of Commons based upon the petitions which were sent by Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty. It clearly highlighted point by point the kind of torture that the British did against us for extracting tax. So what happened was, we had one person called Earl of Albemarle, who was supposed to be an earl, who was in the House of Commons, sympathizing with our native people from Madras on 14th of April in 1854, if I'm not wrong. He read the memorial or a representation and a memorandum which was sent by Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty from Madras. Imagine this for a moment, that from Madras you are sending a representation. This is being read by one of the highest people of nobility in Great Britain in the House of Commons. This is not an ordinary thing. To even read it in the House of Commons is not an ordinary thing. After this, it triggers a chain of events. What happens after that is something which is fascinating. You have a debate which takes place in the House of Commons. The debate goes like this, whether with regard to, it's titled as land tenure in Madras, debate on the land tenure in Madras Presidency. whether we require a commission to be established, because the prayer of that particular representation is to establish a commission to inquire into the findings of particular issue of torture. Now, there is a group of people who say this is not required, a group of parliamentarians in Great Britain who say this is not required, but there are about another group of people who say that yes, we require this particular commission so that we will know where we stand. After this, the matter is put to vote. When it is put to vote, imagine this for a moment, half of the parliament in Great Britain is divided. 64 yes, 64 no. That was the impact that Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty did in Great Britain. Not here, he did this in House of Commons in Great Britain. The sea of communication was like this. There was no phone, there was no telephone, there was no telegraph, there was no WhatsApp, there was no internet, there was no email, there was nothing. He did this through his contacts because he was a very successful businessman. He had contacts with the Manchester Chamber of Commerce. We can see that, and he had the intuition to appoint a political agent in Great Britain. That person, who was called as, I think, Justice Malcolm Levin, who was a judge of Tirunelveli, who resigned from here and who went to Great Britain under protest over the activities of the British people over here. He sent through his political agent over there in Great Britain. All these things happened, and this got published in all the various newspapers. The Huddersfield Chronicle, because sir is from the media background, you will know. You had the Huddersfield Chronicle, you had the Hobart Courier, you had the Daily Telegraph at that point of time, and then you had various other newspapers who carried this in headlines, including the Irish Spectator, who carries all these things in the headlines, not just as a news in a corner. And not only that, you have a newspaper called Hong Kong and China Overseas Mail, which carried this particular news which took place. So this is how internationally this particular organization was acclaimed at that point of time. After this, the British government had become very embarrassed. So they went ahead and they appointed the commission as per the prayer of Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty. Once the commission was appointed, you had the governor of Madras and you had two other people. One person, Mr. Walter Elliot, but the other person is a very interesting person. His name is John Bruce Norton. Many people are here who are members of the Madras Bar Association. The founder of Madras Bar Association is Advocate General John Bruce Norton. John Bruce Norton was one of the members of the Torture Commission which was established. Now he had a very close friendship with Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty, so much so that on this particular day in 1869, on his first death anniversary in Pachayappa, it was John Bruce Norton as his friend who led the memorial in Pachayappa in 1869. I would like to make this point very clear over here because we've taken those speeches and we have kept it over here in the book. What happens after that is you have this torture commission being established. Notices are being sent across the Madras presidency. People get the notice, they come in thousands, and what they report through tabulation column is what we have kept in the book. Now I am not saying anything out of my own intuition or something. Something which was documented by the British through the Madras Torture Commission report is what we have documented in this book and also in the big book which is available. The Britishers, especially John Bruce Norton, is said to have cried. They cried because they did not expect that we as Britishers have done this kind of torture to people. They seriously didn't expect. They thought that this was something called as Fleet Street sensation. This is the word that they use in London. Fleet Street sensation. The media is saying it, so a commission was established. The reason for a commission to establish is to favor the government and say nothing has happened. Usually that is why the commissions are established. But here, John Bruce Norton has written very clearly. If you see the report, all the three of them collectively have written, this kind of torture is inhuman. This has to stop. And one of the reasons why this particular torture has come is because police and revenue were together as a single department. And after this commission report, police and revenue have been divided into two separate departments. This is what the report says. And then they went ahead and they said this kind of torture which is meted out towards citizens for getting this tax has to be abolished. There was another thing called Motrupa tax, which was a loom tax, which was imposed on us native Indians. which was abolished in Bengal, which was abolished in Bombay, but still that particular tax was being imposed upon our native Indians in Madras. It was because of Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty that this came to be abolished in Madras. Ultimately, this report went to the House of Commons, and after this report went to the House of Commons, this particular recommendation of the report was accepted, and for the first time in the history of Great Britain, a native Indian won in the British Parliament. This is the result, this is the end result. We all have to be proud of the fact that that particular organization, the headquarters was in number 13 Armenian Street, opposite to the Madras High Court. And I am very proud of the fact that I am an advocate and we belong to the Madras High Court because we have played a very important role in this also. Last but not the least, I would like to say, because today is his death anniversary, we can see this from the Homeward Mail in London, because this information was given to us by the British Library in London. In Homeward Mail in London on 6th of September 1868 is when we could see that he had passed away. The very next year in Pachepa School, which is there in Broadway, the Pachepa School which is there in Broadway, there was a memorial which took place, and there was a portrait which was done through public subscription, through which we have made this portrait also. It was done through public subscription. At that point of time, the Advocate General and the President of the Madras Bar Association was John Bruce Norton. He led the memorial. We have kept the memorial proceedings also in this book. He led the memorial, and the words what he used, if you just read those memorials, you will start crying. That is how he written. Imagine for a moment a white British person who was the Advocate General of the Madras High Court at that point of time, who was also a member of the Legislative Council, who sat along with Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty at that point of time, to state all those things in his honor. This is something unimaginable. This is what the legacy of Gazulu Lakshminarasu Chetty teaches us, that we all have our own problems in lives, we all have our own daily routines in life, but we have to give back something to our society. That is the most important thing. We have to give back something to our society, something to our own people, and something to our land, because we belong to our land and our land belongs to us. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Hearing the author speak is a memorable experience. Thank you, sir. We could see the passion in this subject and the attention to detail. Vote of thanks by Mr. M. Kumaresan, convener of Center for South Indian Studies, Tamil Nadu chapter.
மாலை வணக்கம். புக் ரிவ்யூ அப்படின்னா கொஞ்சம் கொஸ்டின் ஆன்சர் இருக்கணும், ஆனால் பட் நமக்கு டைம் கொஞ்சம் குறைவாக இருக்கிறதுனால ஸோ கொஸ்டின் ஆன்சர் இல்லை. பட் இங்கே எல்லாருமே இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ ஆஃப்டர் ப்ரோக்ராம், ஸோ அந்த நேரத்தில் நம்ம கொஸ்டின்ஸு நம்ம எல்லாமே அவங்ககிட்ட கேட்டுக்கலாம். ஸோ இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்காக ஸோ நம்ம கூப்பிடும்போது நம்மளுடைய அழைப்பை ஏற்று இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வந்த ஆனரபிள் ஜஸ்டிஸ் விவேக் குமார் சிங் ஜி அவர்களுக்கு சென்டர் ஃபார் சவுத் இந்தியன் ஸ்டடீஸ் சார்பாக நன்றியை தெரிவிச்சுக்கணும். அதே போல் இத்தனை நிறைய ஷெட்யூலு நிறைய ப்ரோக்ராம் இருக்குது, அதெல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு நமக்கு இங்கே நம்மளோட சிறப்புரையாற்றிய திருமதி சுதா சேசையன் டாக்டர் சுதா சேசையன் அவர்களுக்கு எங்களுடைய நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். அதே போல் சீனியர் ஜேர்னலிஸ்ட் திரு கோலாகல சீனிவாஸ் அவர்களுக்கும் எங்களுடைய நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். இந்த புத்தகம் ஜூன் மாதம் 17ஆம் தேதியே வெளியிடப்பட்டது. ஸோ அந்த நேரத்தில் அந்த நிகழ்ச்சி வெளியிட வந்த திரு ஆனரபிள் ஜஸ்டிஸ் ரிட்டையர்டு ஸ்ரீ வைத்தியநாதன் ஜி அவர்களுக்கும் நன்றியை தெரிவித்துள்ளோம். இந்த புத்தகம் நல்லபடியாக வரத்துக்கு கடுமையாக உழைத்த ஆத்தர் திரு ஜெகநாதன் அவர்களுக்கும், நம்ம கேட்டோம் அப்படின்றதுனால நமக்காக டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் செய்து கொடுத்த திரு ஓம் பிரகாஷ் அவர்களுக்கும் எங்களுடைய நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் இந்த காம்பேரிங் பண்ணுறதுக்காக நம்ம கூடும்போது தன்னோட டாக்டர் எம்பிபிஎஸ் அவங்க டாக்டர் தொழிலையும் இங்கே விட்டுட்டு நமக்காக கம்பேர் பண்ண டாக்டர் சுபா அவர்களுக்கும் எங்கள் நன்றியை தெரிவித்துள்ளோம். அதே போல் அட்வொகேட்டு CK சந்திரசேகர் சார் அவங்க வெல்கம் அட்ரஸ் கொடுத்தாங்க, அவங்களுக்கும் எங்களோட நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். ஆக்சுவலி 2 ஃபோட்டோ இருக்குது காசுலு லக்ஷ்மிநாராசு செட்டிக்கு. இங்கே பேக்கில் இருக்க ஒரு ஃபோட்டோ ஒன்று இருக்குது, முன்னாடி நம்ம ஒரு கிஃப்டாக ஒரு 2 ஃபோட்டோ கொடுத்தோம். ஸோ அந்த ஃபோட்டோ பச்சைப்பாஸ் காலேஜில் அவங்க வச்சுருக்காங்க. அது கொஞ்சம் யங்ஸ்டராக இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த ஃபோட்டோ. ஸோ 2 ஃபோட்டோ இருக்குது. ஸோ இந்த 2 ஃபோட்டோவுமே நாம் இன்றைக்கி ஆனர் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்றதுனால தான் 2 விதமான ஃபோட்டோ கொடுத்துருக்கோம். ஸோ பச்சைப்பாஸ் காலேஜில் இருக்க ஃபோட்டோவை வந்து இங்கே வரைஞ்சிருக்காங்க, ஜெயசிவா இன்ஸ்டியூட் அந்த அகாடமியை சேர்ந்தவங்க. ஸோ அவங்க தான் அந்த ஃபோட்டோவை வந்து வரைஞ்சி இந்த ப்ரோக்ராமுக்காக கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. அவங்களுக்கும் என்னோட நன்றியை தெரிவிச்சுருக்கோம். அதே போல் இன்றைக்கி காலையில் காலேஜில் பச்சைப்பாஸ் காலேஜில் ஒரு போர்ட்ரேட் ஓப்பன் பண்ணோம். அதை வந்து அச்சுதன் ரவி அப்படின்னு ஒரு ஆர்டிஸ்ட் அவர் வரைஞ்சார். அவர் வரைஞ்சி அங்கே வந்து அதை நம்ம ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். அச்சுதன் ரவி அவர்களுக்கும் ஸோ நாங்கள் நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். அதே போல் இந்த இடம் வந்து நம்ம கொடுத்து நமக்கு தேவையான எல்லா வசதிகளும் செய்து கொடுத்த அண்ணா செட்டினரி லைப்ரரி நிர்வாகத்திற்கும் நேரடி ஒளிபரப்பு செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிற தொலைக்காட்சி அன்பர்களுக்கும் எங்களுடைய மனமார்ந்த நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.